are recording. I've stopped doing the thumbnails for the videos because I realized I accidentally forgot to put one up. And I just looked at it and I was like, man, that's so much more inviting. Like a picture of two humans talking rather than just like block letters like episode this. And so, I think I'm going to stop doing that. I think I'm going to stop putting like topics, like this was about this. So like, this is the guest, just watch it.
Yeah, I've been wondering about that too. That's why I haven't been doing the topic. I was wondering if I should go to it, but then I'm like, I just want the person on there. You know what I mean? And then give a description about them.
Yeah. I don't know why I originally did that. I think because like the first one might have been a specific thing.
Well, not only that, dude, it's almost kind of like it
bottlenecks it.
Browsing through, you know what I mean?
Bottlenecks it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it could be good or bad. You could look at it and be like, oh, cool, B-2 bombers. Yeah. This podcast sponsored by generic store brand sparkling water.
And some high quality H2O, sir.
This podcast brought to you by Tap Water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if someone's like looking through it, because a lot of times there's not a specific topic, but I never really thought about it, but I just kind of felt inclined that I had to put something down. So, whereas sometimes it would literally be like, today is Mike Durant, and we were talking about the Battle of Mogadishu. Mm-hmm. A lot of other times it would, like, think about like the last one we did where I was on your podcast, Reality Playground podcast. Think about that. Like, there was no topic there, but if that was mine, I would have slapped a topic on there. But in reality, if I had just put in Reality Playground podcast, in reality, if I had put a topic on that, it would have bottlenecked anyone who was interested in everything else we talked about. Because we talked about a lot of shit. We talked about George Floyd, but we also talked about UFOs. So if I had just put UFOs, what? Yeah. What'd you say?
I said, and we talked about big dicks. I'm
big dicks.
Sure.
Oh yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're leaving out a lot of the population. Or if I had just put George Floyd, even though that was maybe 10 minutes, and we talked about fucking UFOs for 90 minutes, someone might have looked at it and just been like, I'm fucking sick of politics, dude. Like, I don't want to hear about the riots. Like, so.
And I don't blame them either.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm like that.
So am I. So and a lot of my episodes are just me and friends, just like, there's no topic today. Today is just like, hey, Josh. Hey, Tom. Okay. And I want to talk to people. I mean, sometimes there's an agenda. Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's specific things that I want to get to, but I just want to have conversation, man. I like seeing where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, right? So no Rona, huh?
Yeah. No Rona. Still feel like I'm dying. So
is that right?
Yeah. So I've just accepted that it's that death is coming, and yeah, I don't know. Made it to 30, so happy about that, and no. So yeah.
Do you think what's a possibility of or the probability, I would say, of having two false negative tests?
3. Would be
3.
Would have been 3.
Probably pretty low.
They think it's just chronic exhaustion. Working, doing the podcast, doing online school, kind of just like, hey, you need to just reel back. Just reel back a little bit. So
which one can you reel back?
I'm going to be working a little less. Because realistically, it's like you should quit one, but I don't want to quit one. I like making money. I like who I work. I like the liquor store, man. It's fun. It's a job, but I like who I work with. It's fun. It's
always nice when you can get there and banter.
Yeah, you just get there and like, yeah. I mean, as long as there's no customers there, it's just like, what's up, you fucking moron? Like just bullshit the whole time, holding bottles like they're dicks, just like, a lot of dicks. But it's I'm
excited for you to have. Are you still gonna have that guy come on and talk about wine? I don't know if you had or not.
My buddy Vinny. Yeah, he's gonna come on. Yeah, Vinny's gonna come on. Yeah.
I'll be curious to see that one.
Yeah. Vinny's a cool guy. Vinny's fucking hilarious. Yeah, right now I'm trying to line up some more guests. I got a couple people emailing. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to. Yeah, so I'm not even gonna go into it. But I think there could be some more cool guests coming on.
It's tough, man. Like, and through no fault of his own, we have a mutual acquaintance. He's actually more of a buddy to you, but he was supposed to come on last night. What's that?
Big Dick Paul.
Yeah.
That's
he
not
was
his
supposed to come
nickname.
up last night, but he was held up on another one, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, no, yeah. He was supposed to do this one today. But yeah, he's got shit backing up. Paul Whitcomb, the people's man. He's he's highly sought after. He's highly sought after. Yeah, he's been on a lot of podcasts actually. I keep telling him to start his own, and he's like, "Nah." I don't know why
he doesn't, man. He's a super nice guy.
Super nice guy, smart guy. He's fucking dude. Yeah. He helped. He helped put John Wayne Gacy to death.
Yeah, that's.
Did you know that? Did I tell you that?
Yeah, I did know that. I don't know the story behind it. I was going to kind of.
It's one of the. It's episode 96. Did you just watch that one? Yeah, he's Is
it? All right, yeah, I'll check that.
And he's like somehow closely related to like the Chicago mob.
Really?
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, he was on a podcast with like the son. Jesus, man, keep it in your pants. He was on a podcast with the son of like Al Capone's #1 muscle man or something. It's yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Paul's a badass. I love Paul. Shout out, Paul. We miss you. We don't know where you are. Actually, I know where you are. I know you're just working. But rest in peace, Paul. Love you. We hardly knew you. So I had a guy send me an article last night. He was someone that he messaged me on Instagram, and I haven't been on my actual like podcast Instagram forever. And I got on it last night, and he was like, "Hey man, like loved like your interview with Brigadier General Spaulding." I was like, "Thanks, dog." And then I was like, "Wait, who is this?" Because like it's podcast is still very small, so I'm like, what? Someone outside of like a direct family member who watched the podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I've been watching since the beginning." I was like, "Fuck yeah!" But yeah, it was really cool. I was like, "Wait, what? You watch this? Why? Like, why? It's I suck." But he sent me this article, and so. Yeah. So, from Forbes. U.S. Army troopers capturing Chinese outposts, possibly. Yeah. What? Yeah. The U.S. Army is rehearsing for a dangerous but potentially decisive role in a possible war between the United States and China.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense.
Army paratroopers have been practicing flying long distance and then jumping into China's island outposts in the disputed waters of the South China Seas. So they're actually doing this.
Yeah. So to touch on that, I read about, I want to say it was like last week or something like that. Marine Corps is changing doctrine a little bit. So they're getting rid of all their Abrams tanks.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah,
I saw it somewhere in the news. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably from the war zone, I assume. And what are they doing? They're doing land-based cruise missiles or something, or shoulder-mounted cruise. I don't know, something along the lines of that. And then they're also getting rid of some of their larger ships and going to like smaller, stealthier ones. So it looks like they're getting back to the old style of Marine Corps where, hey, we're going to go island hopping, campaigns and stuff. So, yeah, man, it's
that 1940s vibes.
Yeah.
Hey, we went island hopping once. We'll do it again.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I've never known the Marine Corps to not have tanks. So it was just, at first I was like, what is happening? And then I'm thinking, okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, if we're prepping for, the possibility of a large scale, or with another superpower.
Do you hear that? There's like a high pitched whine.
Do not.
Really?
Nope. Or check your ears, man.
No, it's definitely. Yep, no, that's definitely you. God damn it! What are you doing, man? Whoops! Wait! I think I accidentally muted. Did I mute me or you?
Oh.
Yeah, it's back. Man. I don't know what the fuck that noise is, but whatever. It's goddamn Chinese.
I could probably go grab a microphone if you want, but
yeah,
you want to go grab it?
It's getting like weird.
All right,
God damn it, Josh Newman, fucking up the podcast. No respect, just taking his dick out on my podcast, acting like this is his podcast. You should go check out Josh's podcast, Reality Playground Podcast. And this podcast is available on YouTube, DTube, BitChute, VO, Vimeo, Anchor, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. Also, apparently, we just deployed a couple B-2 stealth bombers to the South China Sea. So, shit might be getting hairy. Maybe it's time to... Have you ever listened to Tim Dillon? Josh?
I have. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Is that any better?
Yeah, bring it a little closer.
How's that?
It's a cool microphone.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was super cheap, man. It was like, I don't know, $30 or something.
I like it.
Cool. This is actually my first time trying it.
Yeah, the hissing's gone. You gotta bring it even closer. The hissing's gone, but...
How am I gonna do this?
I don't know, I just got mine. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely good quality.
Alright.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah. It's, a lot of them you just gotta get nice and close. Big dick energy. Yeah.
If I end up having to hold it, I will. Just let me know.
Let me know. Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know what the fuck I was just talking about. Oh yeah,
I know we were talking about China, changing doctrine.
Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon's fucking hilarious. He was on Joe Rogan like a year ago, and since then his career's kind of blown up a little more. No, I don't want to say that was Rogan, not Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon is like... He was like a sleeper. He was a sleeper cell.
Rogan helps.
Oh, Rogan helps. Oh, because then he came on again like 6 months ago, and then he came on again like 3 days ago. And he said at the end of this most recent one, he was like, "Hey man, again, thanks for having me on." He's like, "My life's completely changed," and Rogan, humble as ever, because he's awesome. But Tim Dillon, dude, he is so fucking funny. My older brother was sending me his stuff a couple months ago, and like, unless it's like a cool military article, like I don't look at. I never have for like the last 15 years. People send me, "Hey, check out this comedian or this band." I don't give a fuck. I'm just too ADD. I got too much shit going on. But
right.
Finally,
pop
I watched.
Culture is not for you.
What?
I said pop culture is not for you.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. I live under a cultural rock. But finally, I don't know how I ended up watching it, but I ended up seeing like a clip of Tim Dillon somewhere, so I had to like watch the podcast. And I don't like you. I used to listen to Rogan a lot. I don't that much anymore. I had to go back and find all of these and listen to him, dude. The last time that I've like involuntarily laughed out loud from a comedian, I mean, it has to be like middle school, dude. Like wheezing, like I forgot what it was to like laugh that hard at shit. It's
sleeper, huh?
He is. He looks like Chris Farley.
I've seen like a picture of him before.
Yeah.
Never actually listened to him. But
yeah, he's very, very intelligent. Loves conspiracies, and he doesn't. He's almost like he's kind of like Bill Hicks in that he just like nothing is off the table. Like I'll be like scrolling through podcasts and then I'll see Tim Dillon's thumbnail go by and it'll be like the Tim Dillon Show episode 159, why we should bomb Disney World, or it's just like him like going down on like a Mickey Mouse doll, just like, I want to send a message, and it's just like, wait, what? He's just fucking.
So I have nothing to base this off of other than just a picture of him. But is he kind of reminded me of like Artie Lang.
Yeah.
You familiar with that? Yeah.
He's honestly, I never watched him because I don't know why. Just because I guess I'm a shallow individual. I saw like the thumbnail of him like months ago on just some like Rogan spin-off channel, and it was like him yelling, and it was about conspiracies. I was like, this guy looks fucking retarded. But I finally listened to him, dude. Anyway, point being, I've been listening to like him on repeat. He's fucking dude. He is fucking hilarious. It's
good. I got a long trip up to Vermont tomorrow, so
dude, yeah,
I'll probably give it a listen.
Yeah, definitely not around your kids. He's not, by no means is he like, yeah,
right,
yeah. But it's and again, I never recommend comedians to people because I know how much I don't give a fuck when people send me stuff. I'm not even gonna text this because I know this is just gonna go on read. It's Tim Dillon. He's amazing. But he was saying what?
I was gonna say the only really the comedian who was kind of like, how the fuck have I not known about this guy was Eddie Izzard. I listened to him about 10 years ago. He's this British guy. He's a transvestite. So I guess he's not. I don't really know what a transvestite, but his explanation is he's like, goes, I fancy women. I just like to dress like a woman too. So I guess he's not gay, but he just likes dressing like a woman.
Hey man, so did
whatever. Yeah, live your life, dude. But
so did
yeah, he's fucking hilarious. He's a great storyteller.
Who was? How am I forgetting his first name? Hoover? Who was the FBI guy? Edgar?
Herbert?
Herbert?
J.
No. J. Edgar. Yeah, Herbert was the president. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Herbert. Yeah.
Do you know fun trivia? Who are the 4 presidents whose first name and last name begin with the same letter? It's not worth it. It's not really that great, but I don't know.
Anyway, you're committed. I've
committed. I've put my dick in. I gotta go. Herbert Hoover,
right.
Calvin Coolidge, Ronald Reagan. God damn it. Fuck, Woodrow Wilson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember I was thinking, I was like, if I ever am on Jeopardy and that question comes up, I'm good. Sorry for that. Waste of 30 seconds of your life. But Tim Dillon was saying, he was like, he was like, so, he's like, we're at the end. And Rogan was like, I think we're going to come through this. And Tim's like, no, it's the end. He was like, it's the end of perhaps the American Empire, but more likely the world. And he was like, hey, as far as ends go, it's not that bad. We still got internet. We still got power. Food trucks are still going. For all intents and purposes, this is a good end. But it's the end, all right? It's the end. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's been great. We've lived at the pinnacle of human civilization. But it's the end. We can get out of this in one way. We need a war with China. We just need a good war with China. Maybe some false flags to get it started. He's like, we need to rally up against an enemy because it will either A, accelerate our own destruction. Let's just get it over with. Or it'll be something to rally behind. And we can get back some nationalist fervor we haven't had in 80 years. But he's like, we need a war with China. Let's just call it what it is. We need to go to war with China. A lot of people got to die. But all of that just to say, that's what Tim Dillon said. But we need a war with China, Joe. We do, okay? But yeah, I don't know, man.
So, what did you think of Spalding? I thought he was. I did listen to an interview of yours, and I found him to be pretty intense, man. It seemed like you were able to get him riled up pretty good, especially kind of at the end there. And I feel like he was trying to restrain himself. And I'm not saying it's positive or negative. This is what it is. But,
yeah. So I listened to his book several times. Well, I listened to his book once, and then I emailed him, and he said he'd do it. And I provided some questions like, "This is what I want to," Yeah. And when he said yes, that's when I listened to it 3 times in a row. It's just that's the pre-med psychopath in me. That's just let's nail it into the ground, and really get some questions out of there. He was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And I was like talk to his secretary, and she's like, yeah, he'll be logging on. I was like, okay, cool. I was excited. Yeah, man. When I first came on, I was just like, yeah, he's just staring through my soul. No, when I first pulled it up, I was just like,
yes, I'm here. What do you?
I was kind of taken aback. But he was very warm and cordial in the emails beforehand. So I just told myself, I was like, all right, look, this guy is a brigadier general. He flew B-2 Spirits. I just was telling myself internally while I was starting the podcast, I was like, of course this dude's gonna look intimidating. That's just pussies don't get to where he is. I was like, this guy by default is just gonna be, and yeah, I was a little intimidated. I was a little flustered, and I was like, okay, let's just stick to it. And I was like, so I was trying to walk the I was like, let's get through this. And obviously this guy knows his shit. And I don't know, I definitely kind of got into it more. I felt I worked it a little more. And then my goal was I just want to see if I can get him to laugh. I want to see if I can get him to laugh or chuckle. And I got him to chuckle towards the end, and that's all I wanted. And I was like, okay, I got him. But yeah, that's the only other podcast I've ever been 2 other ones before that. Dale Comstock, episode 50, the first time I'd ever talked to him, Delta Force guy. Now I would like to think that me and Dale are buddies. Dale's probably you're a fucking moron, but I love Dale. I love you, Dale. Shout out. But yeah, Dale's been on regularly. And I was intimidated before that, but we started in the first 10 seconds. Dale was just smiling. He was like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
The next one,
your energy.
Yeah. The next one, episode 95, Mike Durant. That I was just like, "Holy shit, this is Mike Durant." And but he was a big teddy bear, and I got him to laugh at the end. I was like, hey, can you say fucking Irene? And yeah, and got him to. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna be nervous. I was very like intimidated. I was like, okay, let's go into this. And yeah, it was intimidating, and there's really no easy way around that. But I felt that I kind of eased into it, and kind of got him going, and got him to laugh. I asked him about like UFOs. I was like, would you like to fly around on those? And he laughed. So that's all. That's what I wanted. But yeah, man, He's a cool guy. He emailed me right after. He's like, thanks very much for having me on. Like, it was very fun. It's like, okay, cool. But yeah, I go back and I look at it and I watch the first like minute, and I'm like, I can tell, like, just watching him, like, I was like shitting my pants.
Yeah, I was. You had your button-up shirt on. I was like, oh, he's serious now.
Oh, dude, very few people get the button up. Very few people get the button up. I've had people ask, like, how come I don't get it? And I was just like, no. No.
I mean, dude, good on you for getting them. I think I texted you either the day of or whenever I saw it pop up there. Like, you fucking did it.
You were like, so you bastard. Cool, you crazy bastard. You son of a bitch. You did it.
Right. It's, I'm working on right now trying to get a. God, I even
don't jinx it.
I won't say his name.
Don't jinx it. Yeah.
I'm working on trying to get a YF-23 test pilot. So.
Woo! That would be cool. That would be cool, dude.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have just such a love for that thing. It's like the
so
kinda,
sexy. It's the sexy.
You know,
it's this. It makes the F-22 look like a retarded stepchild with like a missing limb.
Yeah, I think for the longest time, a lot of people did too. Kind of held out hope, like, well, hey, maybe we'll do like a medium bomber or something like that, or something based off of that design. But I don't think we'll ever see it.
And for the record, I think one, if you have a retarded stepchild with missing limb, I'm sure they're a wonderful child. I'm retarded, so it's cool. Second, I think the F-22 is beautiful. I just don't think anything comes close. The only things that sort of touch the beauty of the YF-23, I think, are the B-2 and the SR-71. Yeah, those are two like elegant.
Curves and then of the B-2 and then and the YF-23. But yeah, the SR-71 is magnificent, undeniably beautiful. Yeah, it's just sexy.
I think that, speaking of retarded stepchildren, I think the F-117 is beautiful. That one gets shit on.
Yeah,
I think there's something gorgeous about that,
dude. Absolutely. And so they're using it right now as an aggressor.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess, that makes sense. They need red air who's, low observable. But I guess I was wondering, though, too, I was pondering this morning, is obviously doctrine's changing. I think we're running out of money, but we're going to have to spend more regardless. But so why not? Why couldn't we just update the F-117? Is it the design that's holding it? Is it just is it or is it the guts of it and the material? Because that can be replaced and upgraded.
Well, it's been a while.
Or is it just?
It's been a while since I worked at Area 51, but I'll touch on.
Right. Yeah. So I'm leaning on you.
Yeah. I'll realize that sometimes I'll be asking people. I'll be like, so what do you think about that? And I'll be like, well, Tommy, I work at Kroger, but let me touch on these orbital kinetic weapons you're talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yes, thank you. But I just got back from the liquor store, but this weekend I do my internship at Skunkworks. I'm pretty sure the F-117 has a lower RCS than the B-2. It still holds the record.
Is that right?
But if you look at the sizes,
well, it's smaller too.
It carries two bombs. The B-2 can carry I'll find that thing. Hold on. Fill the air real quick, Josh.
Yeah. So one of this is kind of getting really off topic here, but I'm wondering, with China's theft of a lot of our technologies, we know that happened with the F-35 and stuff like that. I wonder if our B-21 Raider is going to lose effectiveness, because of that.
Yeah,
I know I essentially that question before. Trust me, you had better questions. I understand why you didn't use it, but
no. I talked to a colonel about Brigadier General, and I was like, hey, so I called Northrop Grumman back in April and got chewed out for asking about the B-21, from their public relations woman. They were soft face, told me basically to fuck off, and but being very professional.
Right.
And General Spaulding used to fly B-2s. So I talked to a colonel that I was able to get in contact with. I was like, should I ask a question about that? Is that fair game? And he was like, I wouldn't. And I was like, okay. Because I didn't mention that in any emails to him. Like, I didn't want to, like, bring that up. And I think it might have been you as someone else that, like, when I wanted to have on all those nuclear physicists and weapons physicists for the anniversary of the A-bomb test, and I ended up getting Dwayne Hughes, but I had a bunch of other guys on, and then I'd send them questions, and they'd be like, hey, actually, I can't do the podcast. And I'd be like, why not? Like, they didn't say anything. And someone else pointed out to me, they're like, you're putting them in, like, a sticky situation, because, like, if something is going against their, like, security clearance, they can't answer the questions, but they also can't tell you that they can't answer the questions.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, if they come back like with redacted stuff, say, hey, we can't answer this and this and this.
Well, there implies that implies. So a lot of them, I realized I had like one from Livermore, one from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, kind of like back to back. These guys are just like, I'm gonna have to pass. After they said like sure, and they were excited, and I was like, what the fuck? And finally, I had Garrett, my buddy Garrett, who's I listened to that one. Yeah, Garrett's a fusion scientist. He was like, "Yeah, man, you're
my way." Yeah.
He was like, "You're putting them in a sticky situation." So I was like, So
that makes sense.
I realized with General Spaulding, I was like, not only would that be putting him in a sticky situation, like he wouldn't have even had like the.
He probably doesn't know. First of all,
well, regardless, I never once mentioned it in an email to him, so it's not even like he would have the luxury of like declining the podcast after I mentioned it. It'd be like if I just pulled that out midway, that'd be probably less acceptable than like pulling my balls out. And I was like, that's not cool to this guy. Like, I was like, that's just not cool. So like, I had people ask me, they're like, well, how come you weren't asking about the B-21 Raider? I'm like, bitch, do you not think that's like all that was on my mind? Like, tell me, what do you know? And
right.
No, I like loosely mentioned that I had got chewed out by Northrop Grumman, and he smiled.
Yeah,
I was like, and I was like, that's the end of that. I'm not gonna. I started the idiot in me was like, just ask it, just ask it. I started walking towards the cliff, and he like smiled, and I was like, stepped back. But here's the image I meant to pull up. So there's the B2.
Okay.
F-30. Why did I just not text this to you? I'm like a 9-year-old. I'm like, hey Josh, can you see this picture?
Right.
I'm hurting it through the screen. Yeah. You get it? I just texted you.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you look at it, it's got. I've been meaning to change the. There we go. From my side. Yeah. So for anyone watching, there we go. There's the B-2, the F-35, F-117. Yeah, so the F-117's got a smaller cross-section, but if you just look at the size comparison, it looks like the F-117 could almost fit in the cockpit. It almost looks like that of the B-2. So, to answer your question with all of my expertise, I would imagine, I don't know, but it's got smaller RCS. I don't know. Why not upgrade it? Why not?
Right. So
I don't know.
They were able to shoot it down back in the 90s during the Kosovo War.
Yeah. Fucking just
right.
They just
and so they were mobile, right? Then they keep turning on and off the system and stuff like that. Like the radar guy explained it. Like he's been open about it and he's done interviews.
Oh, yes. I never knew. I never knew why it was shot down.
Yeah. So read about it. I'm not saying I'm right here.
I'm taking you as the now authority. You were there. You fired the missile.
Yes. So essentially, it was something about they were turning the missiles on and off or something like that, and using different frequencies or
defense.
Yeah. And somehow they were able to spot this thing. So if its RCS is lower than the B2, are we going to have issues with the B2? That same thing? And I'll find the article. I'll send it to you. Then we can talk about it another time. But
I don't know. In Ben Rich's Skunk Works, which is you read that, right?
No, it's
God damn it, Josh!
Right now
what
I'm
the
reading 1984.
I know. What the fuck? Haven't you read it? I can't. Why are we even friends? I've had 1984 for a couple years, and I still haven't started it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but F-117 it was Ben Rich talks about how the pilots said that like when they were over Afghanistan, Iraq, right? Desert Storm, Iraq, and he was like because when they were testing it with the radar, sometimes it would show up perfectly, and they'd be like, "Why is it showing up perfectly?" And they'd realize that like one of the screws was 3/16 of an inch protruding instead of flush with the skin, and so it would go from the cross section of a ball bearing to the cross section of like a school bus, and then they'd put that, because the entire thing was just, it was a mathematical equation. That's all it was.
Right.
So the whole thing had to, it wasn't like if part of it's missing, part of the stealth is missing. It's an all or nothing thing. So when they would open up the bomb bay doors, the entire thing would be fucked. So as it opened up, they said all their alarms would start going off because they were getting painted with radar, and they drop the bombs and they'd close it and just gone. So even if they could see them visually, which they couldn't, but even if they could, they still couldn't. You couldn't lock on. There was just, it's nothing. You're looking at it and you're like, why isn't it? When they first tested
you're still shooting from the hip. Yeah.
When they first tested it and they flew it over like White Sands, the guys with the radar, and they said it flew at like an altitude of like 1,000 feet, and it flew over, and the radar guys were like, what the fuck? Because they were like just looking at it. They're like, you could almost see like the pilot, and they're like, it's not. They can't, meanwhile, they're tagging like the T-38 50 miles away, and this thing is overhead, and they're like, what was that? But the pilot said when they were over Iraq, they opened up the doors and all the alarms would go off. Not only that, one time the door didn't close, and they saw a couple missiles flying up at them. And the guy was like, that's when I'm pretty sure I shit my pants. He was like, I'm very sure I shit my flight suit. But because he's just watching this like white hot missile plume come up, and it's tracking them, and the missile's arcing, and it's like it's hunting them down, and then and then the doors closed, and they said it just then you could tell the missile, it stopped like maneuvering, and it just followed the last point that it saw, and so it went behind the plane. So as soon as the doors closed, so.
Isn't that amazing? Just one little thing.
Yeah.
Fuck up your whole day.
That's one,
a bolt.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So, to answer your question in all of my expertise, I don't know. Maybe maybe the B-2 isn't like that. Maybe they sorted that kink out. Maybe the B-2 can open the bomb day. Maybe that's aside from the fact that B-2 carries like 30 times the payload.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I don't think it's a design thing. I mean, that can't be it, because if you look at the F-35, Lockheed historically has kind of like the diamond and the angles, where Northrop, Boeing, or whatever has the curvy kind of.
Wait, Lockheed's the F-22, right?
Yeah.
Are they also the F-35?
Yeah.
Shout out Lockheed. Nice.
Yep. So yeah, Lockheed and Boeing, they're the big boys on the block, man.
They're the fat cock swinging.
Yeah, yep, they definitely are. Yeah, so I don't know, but I think it's pretty cool though. We still have a couple of dozen that we keep stored, and now we're using them for Reddit and stuff. I think it's kind of neat. Yeah.
So my theory on those, and I think I talked to David Libby about this, the guy who's an F-117 historian. Mm-hmm. My theory is that we're keeping them and not putting them in like the graveyard because they might still be so advanced that like the line of succession for like presidents, not only does it go through like the first like 10, the main ones, who's vice president, is it Secretary of State or Speaker of the House? It's got that whole like the ones you can guess, right?
Yeah.
But it actually goes out into like I'm not kidding you, like the hundreds. It goes out into the hundreds of places to like where you can be number 577, and in case of a thermonuclear exchange, it will be the head of the Atlanta Treasury. Like it'll be weird shit like that.
Like, you ever see? I know we're going off track here, but you ever see that show? Was it Designated Survivor? It's on Netflix. It's about like this one congressman. He's like this young dude or whatever. He was left behind, when
Oh,
they
yeah.
all went to the State of the Union, and his job was just to be continuity of government.
Well, that's real.
Back having a beer or whatever. The whole fucking Capitol blows up, and then there's no more Congress or anything. It's just this guy is fucking president.
But the thing is
It's
that's real. That's 100% real.
Yeah.
I think it was there's another weird one the night of like the 2016 election. I'm not making this up. Let me make sure I'm not making this up. But we're getting way off into the weeds. What the fuck were we talking about? I was just,
man. I'm sorry. I'm not a good guest today. I feel like.
no, you're a fantastic. Shut up. You're a fantastic guest. You're beautiful. You're wonderful.
We were talking about.
Actually, who gives a shit?
Lockheed F-35.
Lockheed F-35. Dude, I really got to piss. Fill the space.
Yeah.
Fill the space, Josh.
Hey, Reality Playground Podcast. Come check it out. I'm only 2 episodes in. Still just getting my footing here, but got Tommy to really thank for it. So I do appreciate you, Tommy. It's been nice knowing you there, pal. Anyway, so I really want to talk about UFOs more, but I feel like I've kind of said all I really need to say about that. Other than UFOs are motherfucking real. So yeah, I think earlier we were talking about the YF-23. I think I'm really going to try to get some beyond test pilot for that. Who knows? I don't want to jump the gun yet. Tommy's still taking a piss. So it's kind of weird talking to yourself. You know, I think I need to. I don't know. I need to keep working on that. I get super uncomfortable talking to myself. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I've just been talking to myself bullshitting.
What I do is I just make up. I just make sounds. Actually, I was gonna say we're getting off into the weeds, but then I just thought, why the fuck does it matter? Who the fuck cares? You can't get off topic when there is no topic. So let's go back to where we were, designated survivor. So
right.
I think this is true. Let me make sure.
No, it has to be.
John Kerry. John Kerry.
Oh.
Election night 2016. Antarctica. Yep. PBS. There we go.
Oh shit.
Which is insane because normally one of them goes into a bunker or they just go to like some undesignated city. Doesn't matter. Fucking fly to Milwaukee. Shout out Milwaukee. But like, yeah, that's true. Designated Survivor's true. It's a real thing. Yeah. But one time it was who was it? In Garrett Graff's Raven Rock, which is probably my favorite book, Raven Rock. That's my favorite nonfiction book. Yeah.
Dude, I used to live by the Mount Weather facility. Are you familiar with that?
Fuck yeah, I am. Dude, yeah. I have mentioned Garrett Graff's Raven Rock almost every episode of this podcast. I got in touch with him a couple times and he said he'd do it. And he ghosted me. Garrett, why are you playing hard to get? But it's yeah, dude. He goes all in Mount Weather. Yeah, it's dude, that book reads like science fiction. It's almost too sexy.
Yeah, I haven't read it, so now I'm going to add that to my...
Dude, holy shit. Holy shit,
It's going to be at the Scuffworks now.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I lived by Mount Weather until I went to go hiking out on the AT there. It's right off of that.
No one knows.
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then so I went home and I Googled it. I'm like, oh shit. You know, the only reason that was really put on the map was because there was a plane crash over by there.
Yeah, it's in the book.
Like the 60s or 70s or something down there.
Yeah. They were, because a plane crashed and it like severed some underground power line, which I guess only a plane crashing directly into it could do.
Yeah.
And the people were kind of confused because everyone on the plane died. But apparently before like the firefighters had even like started putting out the smoldering wreck, there was already this like the power crew. There was like a camo power crew there, like amongst the bodies, like reconnecting the lines. And it was like, this is kind of bad optics. Who the fuck are these guys? It's like, it's like if there's a suicide bomber and he blows up and there's blood all over the White House, but they're, the first thing they're going to do is make sure the White House doors are still there while there's bodies everywhere. It's like, whoa, this looks a little... And you only do that because, oh, wow, there must be a priority. That's what it was, is people got upset because they were like, there was just like, I think it was near Christmas, so there was like a bunch of presents strewn everywhere. So there's like dead kids and presents, real dark shit. Yeah. And there were guys there in like camo with fucking like M16s guarding them as these like guys like linemen are like fixing shit. and there was like Humvees and APCs, and they were like, "What is this?" And there's Mount Weather, Raven Rock, NORAD. Those are the ones everyone knows about. But apparently, those are the big ones. But apparently, there are hundreds.
Yeah, there's one, and it's not far from Mount Weather. It's in a place called Warrenton, Virginia. I used to live up on top of this mountain. It's called Bear Wallow Mountain, and the Warrenton Training Center's there, and it's a multi-site. It's like, I don't know, I want to say like 4 or 5 different sites, but they're underground bunkers, and it's former CIA, and now it's a number station essentially. I remember when I lived there years ago, and I put on my shortwave radio.
Mason, the numbers.
Yeah, and the fucking, there was some lady or whatever calling off all these different numbers and stuff, and sometimes I would leave it on at night. Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore.
That's exactly like Black. What the fuck? What was the number station?
I don't remember, man. But it was weird though, because sometimes I'd leave my radio on at night and I'd be sleeping and I forget, and then all of a sudden, I hear beep beep, and this chick comes on and I go, "What the fuck?"
16, 34.
And it's literally 150 yards from my house where this is coming from, and but yeah, so it's this huge elaborate. Northern Virginia, man, is crazy, dude. There's so much like infrastructure that blends in with everything that's dedicated to CIA, NSA.
Everything within like 200 miles of DC.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, so it's God damn it, you need to read. Actually, I'm giving, because I am in charge of you and you're my pupil because I'm a douchebag. You need to read Raven Rock before. Oh, thank you, sunset. Was it Spalding called them panda huggers? All these fucking people who don't think China's a problem, they're a bunch of panda huggers. Like, woo! Yeah. And it's you gotta love those guys. Just zero disregard for. They're just like, they exist. They exist in like an on and off world, and I fucking love it. Shout out Robert Spalding, Brigadier General Dr. Robert Spalding.
You can just call him General.
Yeah, well, I have.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Douche. But Raven Rock, dude, they go into.
I say that because
all this shit,
long words. Like, I'm like Brigadier General. I'm like, fuck. Can't I just say General?
Just like some people get the button-up shirts and others don't. Some people get the full title. You're Josh. You're motherfucker. I text you. I'm like, let's go, you dumb hoe. Like, there's let's go, you fucking slut. But
hey man.
Yeah, it's yeah. No, I definitely didn't tell Spalding what's fucking tango. He got a I'm ready, sir, whenever you are. Like you got a commando.
That parade rest for him.
Yeah. You get like a middle finger and a picture of my balls. And it's like, let's go, bitch. But it's Raven Rock. They talk all about it. They call it, so it's not even like, they don't even mention a couple. They just call it the relocation arc, meaning that there is a general swath of land that at any one point you're no more than like 5 minutes from a bunker. So if the president is, outside of town talking somewhere, they can just be like, you're at the nearest one. Yeah. And so they call it the relocation arc. Yeah, dude. It's fucking, it's insane. It's awesome. And there were so many, like, LeMay was so like OCD with like ensuring that we had second strike capability, that like one of the things they did was, there's actually like 4 rockets somewhere out in like Colorado, like 4 ICBMs, and I think they called them RCBM or ICBR. I always fuck it up, but they took out the warhead and they just put in a radio. And the radio, because every silo is independent of the others.
Yeah.
Every silo is their own power source. They have their own codes. But I guess LeMay authorized something where it was basically these 4 rockets, and one would go north, south, east, so they'd kind of shoot off and like bloom like that. And instead of the warheads, it was just a radio, and they would just shoot out a sort of master key. And what they would do is, you fired these as like a last resort. These would streak across the U.S., north, south, east, west, beaming these master launch codes. And even if it was against the people in the silos' will, it would fly over and the silos would open up and fire. So even if all of America was wasteland, LeMay had so many.
Dude, I am so glad that he was on our side. That guy was.
LeMay said that he was happy.
He was such a smart.
Yeah, he was happy we won World War II because he said, "Oh, I would have been tried for war crimes." Josh?
Yeah.
You coming?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, you got me now? I was losing it for a second. But...
Hold on, let me, if my internet does this because it sucks, let me connect to my, well, I was going to say connect to my hotspot, but there we go. And you still have me? You still have me? Josh?
Yep, I got
Good?
you.
All right. Yeah, my internet sucks. Yeah, LeMay he's like, thank God we won. I would have been tried for war crimes. JFK said, you don't want LeMay leading the war because he'll get us into war. But he said, you definitely want him leading the fight into war. You want to have him bring you into war. You don't want to have it start it. Don't let him start it because he will start it. But if it started...
Well, and he almost did, too. Like, I mean, when he would run I believe it was the B-47s,
he would just sprint them. Sprint them right at the border.
Yeah, right up from the Arctic, man. Just no fucks given, dude.
Just fucking cock swinging at his ankles. I think one time, he said that, like, he's like, there was, like, it wasn't the Cuban Missile Crisis, but it was, like, one of the other, like, real brinkmanship moments where he was, like, everyone was like, that was close. And he was like, yeah, with a little more luck, we would have had World War III. He was a fucking pit bull, dude. And, but thank God he was on our side. And, he had the radio ones. He also had something called the Green Pine Network, where he had these radio stations up in Canada, and they were like a kind of radio. They were made of something that it wouldn't be interacted by an EMP, the EMP of a nuke. It was some weird analog. I don't know what it was. Just some like Morse code shit. And then he had another thing where, and this is insane, you'd have these big ass planes with these like thin cables like that, and they would be 5 miles long, and these planes would go out into like, middle of the ocean, and then they'd start unspooling these things. So imagine just like a C-130 or just some big cargo fucker, just full. They stripped out everything except the crew, and then just all these spools of this one long cable. And even getting the cable was like this weird, like classified, because they had to get these contractors like, yeah, we can link them together, and they're like, no, we need one uninterrupted, and but they'd spool them out, and then the plane would bank, almost kind of like a gunship, and it would just stay in a circle. And so as the thing spooled out, it would be spooling up, and it would almost it would look like a giant spring. But then, but they'd be making this like radio transmitter, and it would be like ELF, extremely low frequency, which is even I guess longer or lower, or super like in like the wavelengths are like miles long, but I'm too stupid to explain this, the importance of the radio, but it's basically like this could like shoot like messages through the ocean, like down to like nuclear subs. You wouldn't have to come up to receive it. And they would do this, and so you'd almost create, because we wanted to make these like ELF transmitters, and I think Maine, and I think we did it, but they were so big that the Soviets obviously would have like tagged it for one of the 10,000 things they were going to hit with their nukes, because these things were huge. They take up like, it'd be like 1,000 yards by 1,000 yards, and it'd be like one giant transmitter. And so what we did is LeMay had them make these things that they would go fly out over the ocean. So they'd thus be temporary, right? Because this doesn't exist as this big mile-wide coil. Instead, it would be spooled up on a plane that would be kept in a bunker. They'd come up, take off, do this thing. You can do it anywhere. You can do it so long as the plane's in the air. You can do it fucking anywhere. And you'd create these things, and then you could fire this like master code, and it would go to all the submarines in the world. And you could do it. They said you could even do it like through the earth. Like that's how like crazy. Yeah, this could go through mountains and shit. So like nothing would get blocked. It wasn't like, they're not in line of our radio. You didn't need line of sight. You could just go through like mountains, like tectonic plates and shit. And then once they're finished, they could snip it off and drop it into the ocean so that they don't know where it came from. But that was one of the things LeMay had. Was I'm too stupid to explain it, but yeah.
Huh. Yeah. You talked about EMP. And isn't it, I think it's funny how often we don't think of solar flares as being a threat.
Oh, dude, it's the end of the world is just one blip away.
Yeah. and it's going to happen, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to get it was it back in like the 1800s or something, late 1800s, I believe it was, and it knocked out all the telegraph and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Imagine the technology that we had today back then, it would have fucked us.
Yeah. So what I do is just not think about it.
Right.
It's like Rick and Morty. Like, Rick, what are we gonna do? He goes, you do this. Yeah, you do the same thing that you do when thinking about the timeline where Hitler cures cancer. What's that? Don't think about it. Just ignore it. Put your head in the sand. Yeah. I just don't think about it. It's yeah. I don't know, man.
That's what. You familiar with Dr. Robert Schoch? He's
Rogan's. Oh yeah, I just heard him talking to Tim Dillon about it. So he mentioned Robert Schoch, the guy that thought there was like a million lightning strikes a second or something.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, so he was on with John Anthony West back in like the early '90s.
Rest in peace.
No, that guy was awesome. Doing kind of the mystery of the Sphinx and stuff like that. But that's what I was getting. So he almost seems like he's not changed, but his opinion has just evolved, and now he thinks it was like a lightning storm or something. Is that what we really have to? That scares the shit out of me. I don't have a cave to go into to hide for, weeks on end or months or possibly years. That's
I just
think about.
I don't think about it, man. I figure when it happens, it'll either be quick, like a thermonuclear pulse, or I'll be just far enough outside of a nuke that I'll, burn to death or be killed in debris slowly. Either way, I think that even the worst death will probably only last a couple hours. A couple hours of pain would suck. But you know what? I've come to peace. I'm just come to terms with it. Of my fear of death, through psychedelics, I think, and that's a bold thing to say, because as soon as you get cocky, you will get humbled. But I don't fear, especially after the death of my brother. There was I just kind of had to come to terms with it, and I think now it's like I almost, not in like some depressed way, because I do have clinical depression, but there's no great fear. I guess it's just it's happening. It's happened to every single person that's ever lived.
Right, you're not alone.
I just feel it's just no matter what it is, even if hell is real, or even if it's not, or even if it's just some weird psychedelic reincarnation, it's like a roller coaster where everyone that's ever existed has gotten on it and gone on it. It's it's scary, but there's a sort of comfort. It's everyone's done it. Grandma, grandpa, brother, uncle, dog. It's okay, it's okay. Pain will suck.
Yeah. I used to not really care as much. Not care is a right word, but I didn't fucking care.
We talked about it. Yeah.
Whatever. And then, I had kids, and now I guess my attitude is I don't necessarily fear death, but it's let me hold out just a while so I know they're taken care of. Let them become adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they can have families, and their life is going good for them.
Yeah.
And then, hey, take me.
Yeah.
But that's really my main thing is, man, is I just hope give me a good 20 more years. My kids.
Let me take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really only my.
Yeah.
It's really my only issue with death is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's
famous last words.
Was it Dumbledore? Was it that Dumbledore quote? Albus Dumbledore, Harry Potter guy. To the well-organized mind, death is merely the next adventure.
No.
Meaning that I guess kind of if you've done your meditation, if you've dropped your acid and gone and sat in the woods, and not to that, and that sounds like some snooty I am enlightened. Let me tell you what happens next. Sit down, child. Let me teach you. No, fuck off.
Right.
I don't know. It's I think when it happens, man, and it's just.
Yeah.
To me,
you're not gonna fucking know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. To me, I think of it I wouldn't want to live in a bunker. Imagine knowing that the entire world is a radioactive wasteland, and that tomorrow is the same as 30 years from now. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna eat this weird dehydrated crackers, and nothing's ever gonna change.
Yeah. You can't. What are you fighting back for?
Yeah.
You're living in a fucking wasteland, eating scraps.
Yeah.
At best.
at best. Yeah.
And so what's the point? You know, procreation seems fucking silly at that point, other than for me to just get my rocks off.
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. So you cool doing 5 more minutes and then we'll end this bitch?
Yeah, man.
All right, cool, dude. Don't be
anything for you, buddy.
Thanks, babe. So fuck it. I just want to touch. Actually, you know what? I was going to go into UFOs. You know what? It's surprising as someone that is as much as a sucker for conspiracies like myself, just like love them. Not even it's like sucker that I believe them. Sucker that like they're my guilty pleasure. I just love them. You know. Hey, was that a lightning strike or was that a weather machine? I'm like, fuck yes. Like, you know, the bomb in or the explosion in Beirut, that was probably some chemicals, or maybe it was an orbital weapon.
Got that harp up there in Alaska.
Yes. I'm like, yes. It's just like the moron in me is like, yeah, how could this be dumb?
I'm with you, man.
That being said, I'm surprised that I really have never started to dabble in it until the last 2 weeks or so. And that is like the pyramids, just how absurd they are. And I'm just getting into them. And it's like, I'm ashamed that I haven't. I'm ashamed that it's taken me this long to start getting into them.
Dude, you need to get your Graham Hancock on. You need to I bought some random Carlson going on.
I bought some books, I listened to the podcast,
Yeah, so those two ventured around together, maybe it was a couple years ago now, all around North America and stuff like that, basically proving Randall's case that, hey, listen, like, you know, we were struck by a meteor or whatever.
Yeah, Younger Dryas.
Yes, the Younger Dryas. It's fascinating. I don't think we'll ever know, but when you look at some shit that was done, I mean, like laser cuttings, I feel like I'm getting like Ancient Aliens-esque now, and I hate.
Who gives a shit? Fuck it, go in. You just got to jump in. Who cares?
Yeah, some of it's pretty fucking wild, man. And whether I think either way, if it was motherfucking aliens, or if we had an advanced civilization that for whatever reason fell off the map. Whether it be natural disaster, if it was internal conflict, whatever it may be. Either option is super fucking cool. And we need to do everything that we can to figure out what the hell happened. Because,
I look at it
I'm
as...
a firm believer that, I don't know, I guess I kind of am like, maybe if aliens are around now, why the fuck weren't they around back then?
Absolutely.
I mean, it seems highly possible.
Absolutely.
But where the fuck was I going with that? But at the same time, I think it. Yeah, either way, it's fucking cool that. I know what I was getting at. I think it's possible too that we've had past civilizations who were advanced and then for whatever reason fell off the map. I'm a subscriber to that theory.
So I look at it as it's one of 3 choices. It's fucking aliens. It's an advanced civilization that was wiped out, and the only thing that survived was stone. Or these fucking ancient primitive peoples figured this shit out.
Yeah, and it just as what it is in the textbook.
But to me, that one's equally insane. Why did these people do it? What fucking psychedelics were they eating where they were like, we need to erect a temple to the gods that is going to take up... This pyramid's going to provide no food for us. This is not a power source. It's just... Think about that. You don't have anything, no education. All you're doing is you're a step above, you're a step removed from hunter-gatherers. Yet for like 10 generations, you're going to construct this thing. I mean, was it really the bull whip and killing slaves, or was there some crazy? Even if it was just like, to me, that's just as crazy.
Is it? Why do that though? Too right. So if it's a king, right? Let's say.
I need it. Yeah.
Pyramid built, but he knows it's not going to be built for 500 years. Why the fuck is he doing? Is it an ego thing?
Regardless of what it is, even if that is the case, they wanted a big old fucking tomb just because, and they were willing to throw 1 million deaths at it. The fact that these fucking ancient peoples did this to me is like still, like, so to me it's like there isn't a boring there isn't a boring answer. It's all to me. It's all fucking brilliant. But I think like, I know we got to wrap this up because you're too busy for me, Josh. I mean, but I look at it as if you did get to an advanced point. Let's say you have cities and skyscrapers like we do today. I feel like at some point you would like, what did Jeff Bezos do like last year? He put that clock that's going to run for 100,000 years in some sealed in some cave. Just because, like, why not? I feel like if you got to a point where you're like a global society and you have your Tokyos and New Yorks and your airports and your moon bases, one thing you do is like you just kind of build something out of rock. That would be really hard to do for people that only had rock. So, and maybe you do it in a way that aligned with stars. So just because it'd be sort of like a testament to it's like putting a plaque on the moon. Like, what does it serve? Nothing. But if for whatever reason we were ever wiped out and they found it, they wouldn't be like, this didn't just get here by accident, right? Yeah. If anything, to me, it's like the equivalent of like, I don't know. It's like exactly. There's wet cement, and you write like, Dr. Dick Cheese was here. Why'd you do it? Because Dr. Dick Cheese was here, dude. Fuck you. You see, 30 years later, you still see it, and maybe it's funny. It's outside of a hospital or a courthouse where that shouldn't be. Right. I feel like if you got to a point where there's global harmony, and you got rid of poverty and all that shit, and you had nothing to do but advance, one thing you might do is just, hey, let's laser cut some shit, and let's put it in like a geometrically or a mathematically important or meaningful form, and just like we shot Voyager out into space with like the gold disc on it, you just I don't know, we were here, and then if everything did get wiped out, and they found that thing. So you find the pyramids. It doesn't have the gold cap. It doesn't have the limestone sheath, but you still find this thing composed of like 10-ton rocks lined up with the stars. Do you serve it because it's the ultimate Dick Cheese was here? Because now here we are in 2020 AD. And we're still talking about it. Like,
and trying to figure it out. Yeah.
So why do you write Dr. Dick Cheese was here? Because you want at some point some doctor in 30 years to be like, who the fuck is Dr. Nothing. It's because you just said his name. That's why. Mm-hmm. You want us to talk about it. Why? Because fuck you. It's my ego. Fuck you. That's why. Why am I still collecting royalties 50 years after I left the Beatles?
Because I'm king and you're not, bitch.
Because I'm fucking Paul McCartney, fucker. Right. That's why. Give me money. That's why. I know.
It's funny. I just saw a headline the other day, something about how, I don't know when the hell it was, but Paul McCartney was going through the airport and he forgot his passport somewhere over in Europe. And he was like, you know who I am. Why don't you just let me through? And apparently they did. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, imagine this.
Me.
Listen, you fucking know who I am. Just let me through.
Yeah, yes, not even a Joe Rogan could do that, because they might not know. If you're an old guy and you've never listened, you might not know.
Yeah.
I feel like a Michael Jordan could get away with that.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. Even my daughters know who the Beatles are.
Yeah. So. Trump could get away. Any living president could.
Yeah. Speaking of Trump, you mentioned to General Spaulding the other day, you had to give the shout out to the Donald.
Yeah.
I thought that subreddit was
it was banned.
Shut down or banned.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
So they created They created their own website called thedonald.win.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I always see memes of them there, and just China is asshole, and I had people kind of like, why the fuck did you do that? Why'd you talk about that? Look, I lean one way politically. I voted for Obama and then Romney and then Bernie in the primaries in 2016, and then I moved home and wasn't in a position to vote. I don't know who I'll vote for this time, leaning towards Trump. I've jumped on either side of the aisle, and guess what? In 4 years, I'll probably be looking back at me and be like, that guy's an idiot. I'm voting for AOC. And then 4 years after that, be like, that guy's an idiot. I'm voting for fucking... You grow, you change, and to me, I just thought it was funny.
You're allowed to evolve. I don't understand why.
Dude, me and my siblings, older one and younger one, both very far left. I'm more far right. But I mean, yeah, we might be like, you're a fucking moron, you're an idiot. But then it ends with like, hey, look at this meme. Like, right. You're allowed. Actually, I was talking to my older brother this past weekend, and he's on the opposite end of the spectrum of me, and not the autistic spectrum because I'm retarded. But he was like, whatever it is, he was like, it's what's not healthy is the fact that like a lot of us think that we are objectively right. He's like, that's you're allowed to disagree. You know, if someone's like,
and you're allowed to sit down and have you're allowed to sit down and have a beer with somebody who you disagree with.
Yeah.
You know, and you're allowed to sit there and talk and banter and bullshit and try to solve the world's problems and not be assholes to each other.
Like, hey, I get it. If someone's like marching in the street with a swastika, like that's their freedom of speech. I totally get where you might not want to ever talk to him and be like, hey, that guy's literally advocating for, you're Jewish, and he's like, I'm going to put your family in a crematorium. Like, I can see where you'd be like, I don't agree to disagree with that guy. I just don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah. I get that. That's still his freedom of speech. He's still allowed to do that. But in terms of like stances on healthcare or border or like social program or military spending, it's okay to fucking get red in the face arguing and then be like, agree to disagree. What do you think about this fall? Tom Brady no longer the Patriots. Like, you're allowed to do that. Exactly. Not only are you allowed, this is one of the only countries in the world where you can do that without being thrown into a re-education camp. China is asshole.
Yeah. You were talking about Trump for a second, and it made me think about General Mattis. What a loss when we lost him as Secretary of Defense.
A lot of people, and this is where I differentiate from like other Trump supporters, is, you know, it's definitely cultish, where it's like as soon as he's out, it's like, fuck that guy. No, I still think he's awesome. I don't give a shit. I still think Obama's awesome. I like Trump. I also like Obama. What I love about Obama is, you know, what he did when there was a problem with interrogation at Guantanamo, and people were like, this is a really bad look. Obama, because he didn't close Guantanamo, so he thought, well, what if we just have less people to interrogate? And because of that, everyone applauded him because we were doing less interrogation. Yeah. And you know why? Because secretly he said, hey, just scale up the drone strikes. Kind of, hey, black guy tapping the head. Can't have prisoner problems if we don't have any prisoners. Shout out Obama. That's fucking lethal as fuck. That's big dick on the table. So we're having problems interrogating? Yeah. What the public doesn't know is that Guantanamo is terribly important to national security. But you still want to look at it as the president.
Well, what do you think about the theory, though, which I happen to subscribe to as well, is that, you know, that fine, he's a reptile, right? Fucking reptilians.
Yeah.
That, fine. We go over there and we drone strike. I think we create more
blowback.
Hospitals. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I think that's absolutely the case. I think that's absolutely.
I'm not saying that there's times when we shouldn't do anything. I don't think we should. I mean, especially in situations, you know, when there's humanitarian crisis and all that. No, we're a superpower, man. It was our obligation to go in there and help these people, you know, with a coalition, I believe. But yeah, man, I really think we create a lot of hostiles and a lot more problems because, you know, we like to stick our nose in everything.
For every one of them you blow up, how many kids are you now? How many guys like me or you that, you know, I lost my sibling 6 years ago. It was suicide. It's not that someone killed him. But even if it had been a murder, I imagine now 6 years later it'd be like, hey, you just turned 30. You got your whole life ahead of you. Are you really going to dwell on this one person who's now in prison for killing your brother? Or you're going to build your podcast? Are you going to go get a girlfriend? Are you going to start a family? Are you going to enjoy the sunset? Are you going to let this person ruin your life even more? No. Imagine if you don't have running water and you don't have a podcast and you don't have a carpeted, you don't have an air conditioner and you have nothing. Right. God damn it! There's going to be one thing and
killed or whatever. Yeah, I mean that's almost enough for somebody to sit there and say, "Well, that wouldn't tip me over the edge." I think.
Now imagine you have nothing. Imagine you have nothing every day. You have nothing. You know what? Exactly. There's going to be a party that's like, "I'm gonna stay alive, just to fucking run into a U.S. embassy with a bomb." Like, I had nothing, and you made me have even less. You took my dad. Like, you know. Yeah.
So, you know, we as Americans, you know, we like to sit here and tout our freedoms, which we do have, right? But I think it's all about perspective, too, because, you know, we could say, oh, you know, fucking Hajis over there, they're not free. Look at them. You know what I mean? They're constantly they can't do this or that or blah, 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 due to, religious fanatics or whatever it may be, or just maybe it's just the government. But I think a lot of them look at it differently, though, too. It's very tribal over there. So, if you're, I don't know, if you're a part of this tribe, and somebody comes over and steals your stuff or rapes your sister or something like that, you can go kill them.
Yeah.
Isn't that freedom?
Yeah.
That's freedom.
It's...
Right?
You
can't do that here.
No. It's... Yeah, man.
They can go anywhere they want.
It's...
they can do whatever.
Can I reel you in to keep doing the podcast for a little longer? Or
Why do you think I brought up some other stuff? I was like, yeah, well, I'm having a hard time.
All right, okay. Well, I gotta go piss again. I didn't want to fill the gap.
Son of a bitch. He's always put me on the spot. He did this on my podcast too. He asked me a pretty intense Black Lives Matter and Antifa question. Well, it wasn't really intense, but and then he just went off and took a piss and then left me there to talk about it on my own. So yeah, I think freedom is all about perspective. I think there's people who would say that we're not as free as we think we are, and I imagine that's probably true, right? I think post 9/11, we agreed to be less free. We lost some civil liberties that we'll never get back. But yeah, anyway, so hey, Reality Playground Podcast. Throw it in there again. Some cheap plugs so he's taking a piss.
Fuck you.
Can't leave me alone, because then I'm just gonna start plugging my podcast there.
Okay, Reality Playground Podcast. Dude, I'm getting old. I threw out my back at work picking up cardboard. I was like,
it's your 30. Oh, hey, and I meant to tell you this too. So I'm only 35, so I don't have much to go off of. The 30s have been the best years of my life so far. I love 30, man. It's like,
that's awesome.
I finally became comfortable with who I am.
Because I hated the whole decade of my 20s.
Yeah, and stopped worrying about making other people happy and everything. And I don't know, my 30s has just been really, really good to me.
I appreciate that, man.
But, so I hope that for you too, man.
Thank you.
I really do.
I do. On my 20th birthday, August 7th, 2010. My dad dropped me off at the frat house in Valdosta, starting my sophomore year of college. And that night was the night I decided I wanted to be a doctor. And so I could almost say pre-med me started on my birthday, my 20th birthday. That took 4 years. Then as soon as that was finished, lost a sibling to suicide. And then that was just hell for several years. And yeah, I just turned 30. And I kind of looked back at it and was like, that romantic, if I could go back, I'd do it all again. I remember thinking on my 30th birthday, I went, where was I 10 years ago? Would I do it all again? I just remember thinking, that all sucked. I didn't like that decade of my life. I really didn't like, and I know that sounds depressed, but I
understand. Well, different situations, yeah. But I understand where you're coming from.
And so now I'm looking at it as instead of college is behind me, I'm looking at it as now as best years are ahead. I was I'm starting a fucking podcast, doing my own thing. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And I'm just that's all I'm trying to look at it is 30s are going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I didn't enjoy my 20s.
I hope that for you, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So what's up? You had something on your mind before you went to go take a leak, and I just started plugging my shit.
Reality Playground Podcast, Big Cock Central. Blowback, something.
Bombs, and then we're talking about freedom.
Bombs, freedom.
Yeah. I was saying how in some ways...
Yeah, that'd be if aliens came down and they were hey, guys, we see how against each other that Yankees and Red Sox fans are, so we did away with the MLB. Now there's no arguing. You'd be dude, we like that. What do you mean? You're at each other's throats. Yeah, well, sure, sometimes we get drunk and it turns into a fist fight, but no, we like it. Or even Republicans and Democrats, we're at each other's throats, but at the same time, it's how cool is it that you're allowed to take different sides and you can get together with your friends and be fuck them, we're smarter, and they're fuck them, we're smarter, and then you go vote, and sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't, and then life goes on. I wouldn't want anyone to take that away. I don't know. It's, is the best defense a good offense? You got to get over there and just take out those motherfuckers while they're still just seeds. But then does that create more? You kill one, and you can't kill one without getting out some civilians, and now you got some civilians who you've just radicalized. I don't know, man. Yeah, George Washington didn't want us to get in.
It's hard, too, to try to influence somebody, with our culture when they don't, all they know is what they've had.
Yeah.
I think it's, it's pretty arrogant to think that, that's an easy process by any, or that it can really even be done.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it can be done. We've, put capitalistic, ideas in, Vietnam and stuff like that. I think too, we're allies with them now. Look at them.
But I don't know. Me and my buddy Duran talked about this. We're like, is the entire Middle East, is that actually, we're thinking about like evolution, like a shark. Shark stopped evolving something like 40 million years ago. Because they're at the perfect spot. They're the most energy efficient. The way they can glide, the way they can just stealthily kill. They're fit. They've got 100. Once you get 100, you can no longer perfect score it. They're at 100. They're the best.
Yeah. I think it was Shark Week too last week.
Nice. But yeah, it's like they are the most. Shout out Shark Week. They are the most efficient. We were talking about like what if the Middle East is the most efficient society, and you think what? It's a bunch of sand and caves and bombs and illiteracy, and so we'll think about it. Sucked in the US, and we're still there. They sucked in the Soviets. They sucked in Alexander the Great. What if the most advanced society is a black hole? It's a resource suck. It's physically it is hot and sand, and the people there will just blow themselves up to fuck you over. Is it the most efficient just in that it survives? It survives. Is it worth surviving? I don't know. But in terms of the one thing,
they're definitely survivors.
Sure, they have borders, but I mean, just that one. It's like a pit of despair that can take Russia. It can take the United States. Just take it all. Is it the most efficient one? Will it take down China soon? Maybe. It's like that fish in the deep sea that has the light in front of it, Because what do they have? They're the most desperate, just terrible, just despair-ridden, just shithole of the world. But they're sitting on the oil.
Yeah.
It's like a real ice queen, Every once in a while, you see some stud that's like, I'll get her. I'll play hard to get. And then she just breaks him. Next thing you know, they're just some Chad. And he's like, babe, I'm sorry. And everyone's like, what the fuck happened to him? And he's like, I just miss you. And no, she just leaves on to the next guy. Maybe the Middle East is just an ice queen. It took down the Chad Soviets. It's taken on the Chad Americans. Took on Alexander the Great.
So I think how they're going to, if they haven't already beaten us, is just by draining us of our resources, money, equipment.
Just like we did against the Soviets.
Exactly. Spread too thin.
Run that bill up.
Yep. So
I started reading The 100-Year War by Michael Pillsbury. I think he was the Deputy Secretary of Defense under Reagan. It's a book about China that heavily influenced Robert Spalding's book. And Michael Pillsbury works at the same think tank. So let's
is that right?
Yeah, so let's hope I can get him. I don't know why I just did that retarded. But yeah, I'm listening to his book right now. I say read. I listen on Audible.
I say read too. But I'm like
read. I like to imagine I'm glasses next to a fire, flipping pages. Oh yes, China's growing influence. Reality, it's
bourbon in one hand.
Yeah, no, reality, it's me It's me sitting in the shower with hot water, like cleaning my fat belly because I just ate Hot Pockets and chocolate milk. So it's just, that's how I listen to. That's how, shout out Audible. That's how I listen. But yeah, they're talking. They bring that up, and how China looks at it as the U.S. drained the Soviets. We just ran them up. Hey, we're gonna go to the fucking moon. Now they gotta go one up us, and they gotta try to get there. Reagan's Reagan's getting the equivalent of bottle service with the defense contractors. He's like, just get it all, SDI. Soviets got to run it up.
Let me ask you: do you think are we throwing our cards on the table when we talk about how damaging 5G could be as far as data collection and stuff like that. Are we kind of letting our secrets out there? Are we? You understand what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never know because I always think like.
I know you don't know, but
no. I always think of it's like we've announced the B-21 Raider before it's even finished. Like, it seems kind of weird. It's like, why are we doing this? And we're announcing China's 5G is a threat to us. You think, why the fuck would we say that? Why would we not keep that quiet?
Yeah, unless we were doing the same thing.
It's not like LeMay would make like a news a press briefing and be like, "Hey, if they wipe out our antennas in Maine, we can't do a second strike. So I need to make this floating antenna thing." Remember what I said earlier? Because I'm too stupid to remember it. You don't do that. Like, I'm sure when he found, because I didn't know about the EMP effects of nukes until like the 50s when we did Starfish Prime, the one in space, and it knocked out like all the shit in Hawaii, and they're like, what was that? And when we figured that out, it's not like LeMay came out and was like, oh man, I hope the Soviets don't nuke us. I'm sure they looked at it and internally were like, holy fuck, I hope the Soviets don't nuke us. But they were very quiet, and they were like, well, let's start. They were constructing NORAD when they found out about EMP blasts. And so they had to go back during the construction, and they added the Faraday cage, all the copper wiring. So like on the go, but they didn't. That wasn't like public. Like, oh, we found out a weakness. You don't mention the weakness. So like Delta Force successfully got on. Lou Merletti, the former head of the Secret Service, had some Delta Force connections in like the 90s or 2000s, and he thought that they plugged all the holes in like White House security. So he asked if Delta Force would do like a red cell planning thing and get in. And he said they did it. He said like there were Secret Service guys. They said all of a sudden these Secret Service guys were like, yeah, there's people on the lawn. He goes, and the next thing you know, he goes, we're looking at it with like infrared, and all of a sudden we just see all these Delta Force guys. It's still classified because you can't let people know. So to say all that to answer this, why are we saying 5G is our weakness? Why would we say that? I like to imagine that's a hand being played. It's not throwing our cards on the table. That in itself is a move. I just don't see, if us idiots can go, hey, why are you telling everyone about 5G and that being our weakness? If we can point out the problem, I would imagine
there's smarter people than us.
Planners higher up who are like, it's part of like, hey, let's act really scared about 5G. Or maybe not. Maybe there are just a bunch of morons.
Right.
Maybe this is the end. Maybe this is the end and we need a war with China. Tim Dillon. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe it's all part of a plan to make China look bad.
Yeah, but I don't know how much credibility we have anymore. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think we used to be able to say, "Hey, look at these guys. Look at these guys.
Yeah,
they're up to no good." But now, and I'm not bashing this by any means. I'm just saying I think our position has changed, is changing.
Yeah, there's something weird.
People don't take us as serious anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I think COVID, I don't know. Because I don't think COVID was intentional. I can see where people do think it is. And it's a sexy idea. And I
think it did come out of a lab. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this. He's a veterinary pathologist and his wife is a virologist. She can't talk about it.
Oh yeah, you said that. You said that.
Did I tell you
on Reality Playground Podcast episode 2? Check it out. It's because they can't say anything. It's
So, but what he said to me, and he goes, "I have nothing to base this on." He goes, and this is just strictly me talking. He goes, "I think that it was lab released. However, he's not saying it was weaponized. He's saying some idiot probably just fucking had it or something." Walked out of there and it spread. Whether they didn't do a good decon or something like that. That's his position.
Yeah.
But it's only his opinion. He has nothing to base it off of. But he's a pretty fucking smart guy. So
it's. I think it's what's that theorem? It's not Murphy's law. It's not Occam's razor. But it's the don't attribute to maliciousness what could just be incompetence. Like if something happens, it doesn't necessarily mean. I don't know what an example. Sorry, it's like the guy I had on last week, Ellie, the EOD guy. And we talked about the Beirut explosion.
Fuck that job, by the way.
Yeah,
Fuck that job.
My favorite.
So for two reasons. One, I wouldn't want to fucking do it. Although I had walked up to an IED before and just kicked it to see if it was wired or not. I was like, fuck it. I reached that part of my time where I was like, I don't fucking care.
Part of that deployment where you're just like,
yeah.
If it goes off, I won't know.
Exactly. So for one, and then two, man, those guys take fucking forever to show up when you call them. Man, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, sometimes you gotta wait hours for these guys. It's like, what the fuck were you doing? You know, you just halted an entire operation because, I don't know, I'd like to think that they were just rubbing each other in the showers. They're probably doing actual work, but, you know, like dismantling IEDs and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm just an asshole. But
if I were them, I'd take my time and be like, let's see if some idiot goes and kicks it. Save me. Yeah.
So if you ever had that guy back on, say, hey,
he's coming on tomorrow.
There's no Marine grunt here who wants to fucking know why the hell you guys always took so goddamn long to get out there.
Yeah, I'll give him.
Obviously, I'm just busting balls.
I'll give you his info. I'll ask him if I can give you his info.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to have him on your playground, if you want to have him on your podcast,
cool.
Fucking bitch. But But we were talking about Beirut last week, and he was like, it was that. Yeah, we were talking about that theorem. We're like, don't attribute to malice what might just be incompetence. Like we look at it, or another way to say it is like, hey, all you mouth breathing retards, like not everything's a conspiracy.
Right.
Like, oh man, how did 19 guys with box cutters get through $1 trillion defense net? The U.S. knew, not the CIA let it happen. Reality.
Sometimes the simplest way was the way.
Sometimes it's just that the CIA and the FBI were compartmentalized, and there were turf battles, and they don't want to give each other's intel and pissing matches. And next thing you know,
I saw some jackass posted the other day or something like that about how never mind. I don't remember how it went, so I'm not even going to go there. But it was basically something along the lines of how.
Let's speculate wildly.
Right? How the DoD can't lose money because they're a service or something like that. I'm like, really? Then why the fuck did Rumsfeld come out?
Yeah,
right before 9/11 say we lost X trillion dollars?
Yeah, see, that gets a little weird.
Lose money, my ass.
That gets a little weird when Donald Rumsfeld comes out on September 10th, 2011, and says $2.3 trillion cannot be accounted for. And then the next day is 9/11. Not only that, the plane hits the accounting part of the part of the Pentagon where the accounting for that money was taking place.
Yeah. It's I don't understand.
It's a little hairy.
What's that?
Gets a little hairy.
Yeah. Well, and then everybody wants to sit there and say, "Wow, you're just being a conspiracy theorist," blah blah blah, and. I never understood why people got such shit for questioning things when it's been proven over and over again that we've been lied to.
Yeah. And not just in America, just like the history of humanity. There's always a move to consolidate power.
Exactly.
Always.
I mean, it is not exclusively the United States that I'm talking about.
No.
This is,
But there are a lot of examples within, the most, again, it's just the most one that's been beaten to death, just jerk it off. But Operation Northwoods, where we approved by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, they're like, hell yeah, go blow up a movie theater in Miami. I went to go shoot some schools, blow up a drone liner. Yeah, man.
There's no way we would do anything like that now, Tommy.
Yeah.
No.
We did all of that, and who signed off on it? Who said that, no, we can't do that? Right. JFK, I forget what happened to him, but yeah, it's, it's a little weird. What do I think is the most likely explanation? I think that it was an organic attack. 9/11, maybe somewhere higher up they detected it and said, if we let this come through, we could do a lot from this. And that's kind of what I think of COVID. Maybe didn't happen in a lab, but it's like never let a tragedy go to waste. It was like, hey, this thing is taken off. How can we make this work for CCP, Russia, America, Canada? That's what I think is probably the most, with a lot of these conspiracies. I think it's a lot more of engineered 9/11 or COVID. Doubt it. Just my opinion. Doubt it. But saw it happening and was like, hey, let's see what we can do with this. Maybe let's not stop it. So there is some malice in there, or a lot of malice.
So, yeah, I want to, man, there's at least 50% of them, probably more, that, go back to Pearl Harbor, shit like that, we knew that it was going to happen.
FDR, yeah.
Right. But then the other half of me realizes how dysfunctional the military can be from within and how much communication breaks down.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me that, yes, maybe we received the warning, but maybe it didn't get passed down the proper channels, or it did. It just got lost along the way, or something.
Well, there are reports of like the early NSA, where I think NSA was after was the NSA in 1947? Did it start in 47 along with the CIA?
No, I thought that was the CIA. I thought.
CIA and Air Force started in 47.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the NSA was before. Anyway, there were precursors to the NSA. So whatever, these signals intelligence.
I thought the NSA was after the CIA. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But I mean, we had signals intelligence operations in World War One. So I mean, there were different name, but whatever. Same guys collecting shit. There are reports in one of James Banford's books, I believe, maybe Puzzle Palace, about the NSA. There are reports of like as Pearl Harbor's smoldering, that night after people are getting triaged, generals going into their office, covered in blood, just being like, oh my God. And then going to their mail wall, and there's urgent, and it's oh, this is from our chief, this is from our station in Tokyo. They think they intercepted something. Yeah, a little late. But it's sitting there under a stack of other papers. It can just be that. And I think more often than not, it probably is that. And again, Garrett Graff's Raven Rock, he has a whole chapter on 9/11. They're talking about how on Air Force One, they were getting their information from fucking Fox and CNN, watching the news, because all of their communications were broken down. None of the drills worked as worked as planned. As always, all plans went out the window.
Everybody's got a plan until you're punched in the face.
Exactly. Everyone's got a plan until Robert Spaulding's staring through your soul. Shout out Robert Spaulding. But I mean, how much of it is just maybe that is. I think it was Terrence McKenna who said, he was it's not that the Jews are in charge. It's not that the Illuminati is running. He goes, the true terror is that no one is in control. He goes, that's what you learn when you get to the inner temple of, the demonic industrialists that run the world. They're all at their round table going, we don't control this at all, but everyone thinks we do.
You're blowing my mind again, Terrence.
Yeah, I know. Blowing minds from beyond the grave. He's that's, to me, it's not aliens manipulating. It's not reptiles in DC. He's no one. It's not the Vatican. No one is in charge. And that is the truth. But you can't let anyone know that no one's in charge. So the people at the top, everyone thinks that they're in charge, but in reality, they're all sitting around going, what the fuck is COVID?
Dude,
what happened? A plane hit the Trade Center? Yeah. Oh, no!
Dude, you can almost say anything with confidence, and people will generally believe you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as you say it confident enough, and you sound and act like you know what you're talking about.
I do it all the time. yeah, dude. I guess it's the only.
What the fuck do you think I've been doing for the last hour or so?
What do you think I've been doing for the last 161 episodes, dude?
Right.
Just staring into people's eyes, and I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, dude. I don't. Want to do 7 more minutes? 4:15. It's 4:08 now. Do 4:15.
Yeah, we can do.
Dude, my back hurts so bad. I think I've aged 30 years.
Get some CBD oil, man.
Well, I can. I could.
So I'm not one of those people. Okay. So I went with my wife last year to this fucking this beer festival. It was a food truck festival too, and they had the CBD, I don't know, vendor tent up, and so I went over there, and this lady was telling me, I have this, and it helped all of it, and I'm looking at her like, out of your fucking mind. There's no way you have all of that. You need to go home. You just need to not get out of your house.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And but I'll tell you what though, man. I was having some back pain prior to that. fuck it. So I took a little bit of the sample and I rubbed it on. About 20 minutes later, one beer and some CBD oil. I think it helped it out. Or at least
I think it was my uncle used it for his back, and it was...
Yeah, and so I bought it, and I didn't fucking ask the price of it, and I wish I had it, because once I swiped my card, I realized it was like $70. I was like, what the fuck? For like this little ass thing.
Yeah, little thing, yeah.
And then actually I just used it the other day on a bruise and some swelling that I had on my foot, and dude, within 2 or 3 hours, it was gone. No coloring, no nothing. And it was a bruise I thought I was probably going to have for like a week or so. So I'm not saying it fucking helps everything, but for me, it's helped a couple of times that I've used it. So
yeah, maybe I need to get some from... Dude, my back is killing me. But, yeah, I've always heard all these, like, miracle stories of CBD. And, I mean, I've talked to you, but I think I've only done them a couple times, and it's been several years since I've done them. I'm a huge proponent of psychedelics for, like, inner work. I'm prefacing this by saying all that. Like, I'm a big fan. I don't look at it as like, oh, it's hocus pocus. I'm like, no, it's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
I remember I was having anxiety. My little brother was like, try some CBD, dude. He's like, it really... And in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be like LSD, or this is going to be like pot, in terms of like, it's going to be this like healing Mother Nature. CBD does nothing to me. I'm one of the few people where like, I take it and I'm like, those gummies were good. Still anxious. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't do like the gummies, or some people like smoke it and stuff like that. I don't do that because I just want to get high at that point. So
yeah,
it's like
I'm not. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah.
So I'll do the lotion. That's about as far as I'll go on occasion. But no, if I'm going to smoke something or eat something, no, I want to get fucking ripped out of my mind.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. I think I saw something on Reddit. It was like unpopular opinion. And God, Reddit's getting gayer by the day. It's
honestly, I don't go. I go to the smoking one so I could check out all the smoked meats, and then I go on special access.
Special access, yeah. It's there's. Well, now I'm just gonna get. It's my own fault. No one's making me go to Reddit. It's my own fault. It's one of those things where it's like you're poking a bruise. It's like, this hurts, and it's like, why are you poking it? It's like, because I want to. It's. I go, and it's like recreational anger. There is nothing that boils my fucking blood more than just seeing awards on posts. Not even like Reddit is like a communist shithole. Okay, agree to disagree. Or different ends of the political spectrum. So it's not even that. It's just in general. Seeing all those gay fucking awards on it. Dude, I don't know why it makes me so angry. But I'll just be scrolling through, and it might be like a cool conspiracy post about UFOs. But then I'll see like a bunch of fucking gay ass coins, or like pandas or unicorns, and I just like it's irrational. It makes me so angry. I
don't need your fake internet awards.
It makes me so angry. I don't know why, dude. But hey, what a first world luxury to have, to get angry at.
Yeah, well, that's why I never click on the popular. You know how you can just see your subreddit, or you can click on the popular. I don't do that anymore. It's exactly what you're saying. It's all a bunch of shit that I generally probably disagree with.
Reddit is cancer. So. Reddit. I think Reddit's on its way out. Do you?
I think so too.
Yeah. I think it's
and I haven't even been a Redditor that long. I think I joined in like 2014 or something.
Yeah, it's
even since then I've seen it go downhill quite a bit.
It's declining. I fucking hate Reddit. Reddit took $300 million from China.
Yeah.
Did
you know that Smithfield's, like the pork company and stuff, the food company, was bought out by China years ago?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea. I just figured that out a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, shit, man. No wonder their bacon sucks. All fucking thin and nasty.
Fucking panda huggers.
With my bacon, man.
Yeah. That's a step too far.
So do you know who Jim Jeffries is? The Australian comedian.
I've heard of the name. Yeah.
He's got a bit, and I'll butcher it, so I'm not really going to try to do it, but he's got a bit about how people are essentially fucking idiots for loving pandas. He's like, they're fucking idiots. They try to teach them how to fuck and everything, and they won't do it. They eat food that has no nutritional value. And he's like, fuck the pandas. Let them all die. Yeah, it was funny.
It sounds
like it kind of makes sense when he puts it that way.
Yeah, Yeah, me and my friend David thought about something in college where we were like, we look at dogs and dogs vomit and then they eat it and then they vomit because they ate their vomit. And we're like, what a fucking moron animal. Like, it just ate its own shit. Like, the stuff that its body said, there's no more nutrients in here. Here's the excretion. And it eats it. And we're like, what a pea-sized brain. And then, like, we're in college. And every Friday night, we go get fucking hammered. And then we vomit. And the next day, we swear off alcohol for life.
Rinse and repeat, yeah.
Friday night, let's go get some beer, boys. Woo!
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Yeah.
I didn't really get to touch on it. Yeah, do you think that China is going to have stolen B-21 Raider plans? Or do you think we tightened up or in my mind that I love, if we've announced,
I think I know where you're going with this.
If we've announced it, then I like to think that it's not like
we have a step beyond.
It's not the bee's knees. Yeah.
That's kind of what that's the word I kind of lean to on that one. Because I think we're kind of cutting our losses with it. Have they said how many numbers we plan on building? Or
I think a lot.
Well, that might throw a wrench into my theory then, because I thought that maybe they do kind of like they did with B2, where we're only gonna make 20 or something.
Yeah.
Because we're really funneling this money.
Something else. Well, hey man, as a true conspiracy theorist, don't let it throw a wrench in your plans. Conform. The data doesn't work. Well, then fuck it, kick it out. It's not part of the model.
I'm gonna smoke some pot tonight and text you and tell you my new.
Yeah.
This is what I really fucking.
This is what I get. Yeah. Yeah, when new data comes in and doesn't fit your model,
right?
True conspiracy theorists beat down all the other data.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, or take it and bend it. If you want to see UFOs, you will see them. It's you don't need someone go, well, that's a star and that's a pulsar. You want to see UFOs, you'll see a UFO. It's
sure.
I don't know, man. We either have it sealed down pat, or it almost seems like a shitty smokescreen. B2-1, it looks the exact same. Like,
yeah,
it almost seems like a shitty sequel.
Like a B2.0.
Yeah. Really, it almost seems like a shitty sequel. Like the Pentagon could have put up a couple more $1,000s into like a good smokescreen diversion. Like it's the B2. It's
almost one of those things where it's kind of obvious, so they just throw it at you, but it's almost so obvious that you're not going to get it. Kind of.
Yeah. It looks the exact same. It's just a fucking. And it's super secret. But we're gonna announce it. But it's super secret. But it's top secret. But this is what it looks like. But it's top secret. It's not even finished yet. But it's top secret. Ooh, it almost seems like a shitty smokescreen.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Josh Newman, Reality Playground Podcast.
Yeah.
I will link it.
It's always fun talking to you, man.
You too, brother. I will link it in the description and the top comment. And if you want, feel free to upload it to yours if you just want another episode. I don't give a shit.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
That was
appreciate you, man.
That was such the subtle. Okay.
Well, I was like, I was trying to think like maybe I'll just throw it in my back pocket and like kind of throw it out there in the later episode.
No, you can upload. I don't give a fuck, dude. Now, if Reality Playground Podcast takes off and you like surpass me, I'm gonna need you to like kick it back. I don't give a fuck, man. Do whatever you want, man. Big dick swinging. All right,
appreciate you, man.
You too, buddy. Stay safe. COVID, UFOs, Bigfoot pyramids. Send me, text me. I need some more like pyramid.
Yeah.
Maybe not even as serious as Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock. Like, give me a little leeway. Like, you can throw in some aliens. I can get a little retarded. Like, I need that.
All right, man.
All right, dog.
All right, talk to you soon.
Peace,
see you,
dude.
man.
Peace.
Bye.